Welcome to this month's Global Stampin' Video Hop. My name is Safia and I am a card maker in Edmonton, Alberta. And today our theme for the Global Stampin' Video Hop is to emboss resist, which is a technique that I'm going to be showing you today. The set that I'm using is called Beautiful Balloons. It comes with this stamp set and these dies. So this is what I'm going to be using to make my card today. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you're going to need is a piece of white paper. I'm using basic white Stampin' Up paper, not the thick one, but just the regular one. And what we're going to do is emboss on this piece of paper. So the first thing I'm going to do is use this embossing buddy to remove any stickiness from the cardstock so that nothing sticks onto it except for the embossing powder that's going to go on there. I am using this big what is this called? Streamer. It's a streamer. I'm going to use the streamer stamp, and I'm going to go ahead and start layering that onto this piece of cardstock. So I'm using my Versamark to put some ink on this stamp. Versamark is just a sticky ink that helps the embossing powder stick. And I'm gonna just kind of stamp it like that. And I'm going to do this side. It's kind of hard to see, but you should be able to see where you did it. And we'll do one like that. And it is okay if they layer on top of each other. Do one like that. So I think I've done about 3 so far. And I'll do one like this. And I'm going to do one more. Kind of just like that. So I don't know if you can see this. There we go. I kind of think the light is reflecting on it a bit, but you should be kind of be able to see the marks that you made on there. So that is all I'm gonna do. And now we're gonna put some embossing powder on here. So I've got my embossing tray. And this is great because it just keeps all of the embossing powder in one place. I used to do it with a piece of paper before, and that also works if you don't have this, but it has been really nice to kind of have this. So now you can kind of see what's there. I think I am gonna add just one more. And I'll tell you why, because I feel like this isn't really lining up here. So I just added a little bit of embossing powder there. I'm just gonna do that. Bring this back in and add the embossing powder on there. There, that looks a lot better. So you're just gonna flip it over and tap it to get off any excess. I do see that there's a little bit of a line here. So I'm gonna use the paintbrush that comes with it. And I'm just gonna move that line off. There, just like that. So we'll go ahead and get this kind of out of the way. And I am just going to heat emboss this, and I'm gonna do that off screen. All right, so I am back and it's now heat embossed, so you can kind of see there that it's embossed in white. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna use two colors of ink. I've got Parakeet Party and I've got Tahitian Tide. And what I'm gonna do is add some color onto this paper using my blending brush. So I'm gonna start, I think, with the blue, with the Tahitian Tide, and we're just gonna pick a little bit of that up. And I'm gonna start putting it onto the card. So as I put this on, you're gonna see where I've embossed, it's gonna resist the ink, and that's why the technique is called Emboss Resist. So I'm kind of just gonna put it in rows, leaving like a little bit of a square, or sorry, a little bit of white in the middle, and the white spaces I'm gonna be filling it with the Parakeet Party color. And there you go. So that is going to be the background of our card, which I think is pretty cool. So we'll set all this stuff off to the side, and now what we're going to do is we're going to get some balloons stamped out, and then we're going to hang them off of here. So I have some Orchid Oasis cardstock here, just a scrap, and I'm just gonna cut some out actually. And I'm gonna have some balloons in this, and this color. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually going to be using, where's my dies? Sorry. Just kind of behind me here. Where is that die? So this is the die, and I'm just going to be using this to cut out some balloons. So I'm just going to go and die cut this out, and I will be right back. All right, guys, so I am back, and here are all the balloons that I die cut with that one die. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and put these on, and I am gonna be putting them on, well, maybe I'll put some of them on dimensionals, but not all of them. I do think the ones in the front can go on dimensionals. So we're gonna go ahead and just start putting these balloons on. All right, so that part is done. All of my balloons are on. Now I did put 10 balloons on because it's my nephew's birthday and he's turning 10, so it's very important that there was 10 balloons. Even though I know that odd numbers look and work better, I decided to go with the even number today. So for my greeting, I'm just stamping the happy birthday from the stamp set, and I'm not putting it up on dimensionals or anything. I'm just gonna go ahead and stamp it at the very bottom. Just like that. Okay. And I was also thinking of maybe putting some confetti there, but I wasn't entirely sure. I think I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. So the next thing I'm gonna do is layer this onto a panel, and I've got one ready to go here. I did get a little bit of ink on it, but I'm not too worried because the panel's gonna be going directly onto there. So I'm just going to grab my tape runner, and what I like to do is put it on where it's going, but just not on the edges. And then this is going to layer on to here to kind of tie those streamers in, right? Like I want them to look like they're coming from a piece of white. So that's gonna go on like this. There is one thing I didn't do on the camera, and that was to kind of buff out the ink from those streamers just to make them look a little bit more alive. Okay, and then another thing I also wanted to do is I have a jelly roll pen here, and I'm gonna go on to some of these. Sorry, I'm just gonna get that working. And then just make some dots on these balloons, or on the darker ones, just to give it a little bit of a different look. I don't want them all to look the same. In the dies and in the stamps, there is like a speckled look, like there's stars on these, and so I kind of wanted it to look like that, but not quite. So I think I'm going to do them on the Orchid Oasis ones, but pass on the others. What do you guys think? I wish I could hear you right now. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it like that. So the last thing I'm going to do is put it onto a card base. And I've got an Orchid Oasis card base ready to go here. And my trimmer was a little bit dull, so I see there's a little bit of a mark there, so I'm going to make that the outside so that it won't affect the inside of the card. So because this was a little bit dull, I did trim off the end. And so we might not have a lot of Orchid Oasis showing, but that's okay. So it'll look just like that. So again, I'm gonna put my tape runner right onto the card base instead of the back of this, because it is harder to put glue onto here once there's a whole bunch of stuff on there. And then we're gonna get that tiniest little border of Orchid Oasis in the background just to tie the entire card together. Also, I am gonna be adding some embellishments, as I like to do. All right, guys, so instead of adding embellishments, I just went ahead and die cut this die, which is part of the same set. It just makes confetti. I believe you could use this for like a shaker card or something, but I really wanted stars on my card, and this had some stars in it. So I just die cut those out and used those as embellishments as opposed to using my star embellishments, because these are black and they just weren't really matching with the card. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you go into the description and check out the next person in the hop, and maybe go through everybody and see what all of the other people did for their Emboss Resist. Thanks for watching today. Have a great weekend, and I will be back sometime next month with a new video for you. Take care. Bye.